Salute and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, I'm looking to break down rage arts even further in real time for you to see. Now I understand that there are some people that don't mind how Tekken 8 is currently. However, for me, I find issue with the game's mechanics, as I've said in multiple videos whenever I talk about the heat and rage system. So I'm going to break that down as best as I can. And the video will be chaptered. I don't think there'll be many chapters in this video, but you'll be able to skip around to certain points. And hopefully, if this is your first time here, hopefully by the end of this video, I will have earned your subscription. And if you wish to go a step further and support the channel, hit that join button and join one of my memberships. I'll greatly appreciate it, as you will be helping a very tiny but growing channel. So without further ado, as every other YouTuber says, let's get after it. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to be picking Raven and Victor in this example. And I already have Victor set to do a standing 1-2, a heat. I'm going to do also a heat burst, because I also want to talk about that, the rage art, and an armor attack. I'm actually going to go through each of these and just kind of break down for some people that may be unfamiliar or in complete denial about how nonsense a lot of these mechanics are in this game. So I already have Victor and Rage. So let's just do the Rage first. I believe I have it set to punishment 3. Right, this is the Rage, right? Okay. So with this move, okay, if you press into this, you're gonna watch a cutscene and you're gonna lose a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure we've all seen the Rage art, everybody's favorite move. Full sarcasm, 55 damage. You know, it doesn't really matter what you do. I'm gonna try to grab right afterwards. I'm gonna grab. Oh, no, here we go. Here's a grab. Okay, I try to grab. Here's a low attack. Nothing. I'm gonna try an armor attack. Nothing. So, to take this a step further, I want to also illustrate what happens if you try to directly challenge this move. The way to set this up is that you have to do something in practice mode that puts you at neutral. So for instance, with Raven, that would be, well, one of the ways you could do is back turn, back 2-4. As you can see, the frame advantage for Raven is 0. So that means now if I'm mashing on my 1-2 or standing 1, you see that me and Victor, or Raven and Victor, are going to trade. Okay, so now we're going to, now I just highlighted that. Now we're going to go back to the rage art. Now that means I jabbed and he did the rage art at the exact same time. This is to illustrate to people that you cannot directly challenge this move. This is why I keep saying that the move is bullshit and it is a bailout, because when your opponent is in rage, every single time you press a button against your opponent, you are risking this. Every time you are risking this, every single time, because there's no way for you to really challenge this move. Now, can you sidestep this move? Yes, you can sidestep this move. This particular rage art on the one player side just sidestep to your left, which is into the background, right? Just, you know, you have to already preemptively doing it. However, with Victor, if you try to sidestep the other way, you're gonna get caught for whatever reason, even though he's doing he's doing his slash in a very linear way, but because it's Tekken, you know, sidesteps is very wonky. Now, I have heard some people in the comments, I'm not gonna, you know, draw any attention to them, but they'll know who they are if they're watching this video. I've had some people in the comments said that They feel that rage arts is like a parry. Believe me, no disrespect, but I really shook my head when I read that comment. I had other people say, what was it? They feel that it's not that bad. I've had another guy who mentioned that, oh, you can snuff it out. Okay. So this is what I feel this person means. So let's go and snuff out the rage art. Okay, so we're gonna snuff out the rage art right now. I'm gonna give you an example. So basically, if I do ravens, you could do anything, but we're just gonna go back turned, back 3. As you can see with Raven, I'm +4. So I'm gonna give you an example of being snuffed out. Okay, so we're gonna snuff out his rage art right now. See, +4, back turn 2. See that right there? We snuffed it out, right? Otherwise, he's gonna do it. So we're gonna snuff it out. See, we snuffed it out. Okay. If we do basically a 10 frame. Now, if I were to have that +4 advantage, and if I were to do Raven's forward 3, which is a 13 frame attack, look what happens. Look at that. So basically, I can't, right now in this example, unless I pick a different character, I don't know if a 12 frame attack will snuff this move out, but definitely for sure not a 13 frame. So perhaps maybe 12, maybe I'll pick a different character for this example, but ultimately what I'm trying to illustrate to some of you that are defending this nonsense is that if you are of the mind that you're going to snuff this attack out, the problem with this logic is that in order to do that, since you cannot directly challenge this move, you would have already had to landed an attack on your opponent, whether you made contact or they blocked it. And then your next follow-up move can potentially snuff out them trying to mash out a rage. So let me show you this. So if we take him off block and I just hit him with a standing jab. Standing jab on +8. Okay. Now I can snuff him out with a grab, right? Now let's go on down, right? So if with Raven, we got down back 2, which is 13. So we snuffed them out there. Back 4, that's 14 frames. Let's do forward 4, that's 15. Let's do in fact, let's go 17. See? Now 17 don't work. 17 don't work. So you're caught. Okay. So in terms of 16. Oh, wait, let's do it again. So that means that if you want to do the math, that if you are +8, you have to stick with a move that is a 15 frame attack and under. So for instance, you're +8, you have to do Raven, say a 15 frame attack, whether it's forward 4 or back 2. So we're gonna do back 2, which is a 15 frame attack. See, he's snuffed out. He's snuffed out. But the minute I go 16 frame, you in there. So sure, it is possible for you to snuff out the rage art. Yes, you know, of course. I've just shown this for you guys. The problem is, again, if your opponent is in this state, since this move is a single input, it is only down forward both punches. It is entirely possible for your opponent to, whether they just did a twitch type reaction or they literally just reacted to you throwing out a 10 frame jab, they will catch you. And this is the reason why I'm showcasing what happens if you are neutral. This is why I bring the situation up by doing Raven's back turn to 4, and it's 0, as you can see on the screen on the frame advantage. So creating that scenario of, if you just so happen to be challenging it with just a standard jab, you're caught. So while you can snuff out the opponent from doing a rage art, in order to create that snuffing or that snuffed scenario requires you to have previously done a move to your opponent, whether they block it or don't block it. Like whether it makes contact or they block the move. And then the follow-up move, depending on if it's within a certain amount of frames, can snuff the rage art out. So again, this is why I just say I absolutely hate this mechanic, because there really isn't much you can do in terms of direct challenging. Now, we're gonna put this on the back burner real quick, and I want to now show the armor attack. If you happen to do standing one and one again, you can block. See, this is counterplay, which means that if I do this, unless I'm already doing a standing 1-2 and try it again, I'm caught. But if I do a standing 1-1, I can still block. Now Victor's comes out at 19 frames, so the frames might be a little bit different depending on the armor attack, but I'm just kind of just giving you a general example, okay? So if I just happen to do standing 1 and he does an armor attack, if I do standing 1 into 1-2, I can still block. If I do standing 1 into down forward 1, I get hit. So if I do standing 4, which is 12 frames, I get hit. Okay, so I don't have the frames to recover fast enough. However, if you are dealing with an opponent that is very armor attack heavy, you can do things like this. You do 1-2, and if their armor attack is high, you can just go and do a duck. You can crouch, standing 1, crouch, standing 1, 1-2. You can still block 1-1-2. You can still block. Additional counterplay options, aside from ducking the armor attack if it's high, is that you can grab them. You can grab them. You can snuff them out of that animation. You can grab them, and they can't break that grab. Like if I'm not mistaken, let me put them on to break grabs. Opponent breaks grabs. Let's see. Okay, so he's gonna break every grab. Okay, now let's see. So the opponent cannot break a grab under this circumstance. That is a counterplay. Also, you can also do a low attack. So these options will snuff out armor attacks. There you have actual counterplay when it comes to dealing with someone that is doing an armor attack. And you can challenge it head on. You can challenge it to a degree, which is the reason why I feel that the armor attack as it is, at least you can jab check this. You can jab check this, and you can snuff it out with grabs. There are options, there are counterplay options you have here. So this is the reason why I call the rage art a bailout move, because it was specifically designed to help low-level players to basically screw over the winning player that earned his or her position, momentum, and their frames with an attack that you really can't directly challenge. And your opponent can just activate it with just a single input. And, unlike Street Fighter 6, for instance, or any Street Fighter, when you're doing an attack like this, where you have like a super, a level 3, for instance, right? We're thinking Street Fighter 6 by comparison. You would still have to do a half circle motion twice. Like basically like you doing a crouch dash. You have to do that motion twice. So at least there is a time where you can kind of see your opponent trying to do it. Unless they're getting up off the ground, okay, that's a different thing. But in the neutral, they can't just do it just at the drop of a dime. They're gonna have a tell because you have to do that motion. But in Tekken 8, with this particular move, there is no motion. It's just a single input. That's the reason why in this situation that I'm creating, where I'm basically going neutral and I throw out a jab, I'm going to get caught. And that is a big issue here. That is a big issue. You know, so I would, this is why in many videos I have said repeatedly, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is why I've said repeatedly in prior videos that rage arts should have the same weaknesses as an armor attack. The same weaknesses. Same exact. Literally just copy and paste the weaknesses of the armor attacks of Tekken 8 and apply them to a rage art. So here's a heat burst. Again, another move that basically stops time and space. So for instance, if I were to do, say, up forward 4 with Raven, I'm caught. And then what ends up happening is Victor or any other player using whatever other character will gain access to a float combo. Now, there was somebody in my comment section very recently at the time of this video that left a comment. I think he mentioned something about he did a can kick. I don't know, he could have been referring to maybe Jin or Jun or whatever. And basically the player heat bursted and basically placed his character in this situation to where now the opponent that did the heat burst can proceed to combo him. The only saving grace for this is that if you are swatted out of the sky in that manner, all additional damage within the combo at that point is going to be primarily recoverable damage, and the attacks are heavily scaled. So to kind of illustrate that, let me go and put them back to the armor attack. So if we do this, so you see, if you look on Victor's damage, you'll see the damage is now 23, right? But you see recoverable is 16. I hope you guys can see that. Now, if I were to just get hit by this move, now it's 27 damage, right? So it's 27 full-on damage. You can see my health meter just goes dark. Okay. If I jump, it's recoverable for the most part. So that's the only saving grace if you do get sniped out of the air in Tekken. This is why, even though I don't like this particular thing with Raven where you do the 1-2 and the soul zone drop like this, if you get hit out of the air while you're doing that as a Raven player, at least you're not taking the full damage. But I'm not going to get into the specifics with Raven for this video, but I hope that this is becoming more and more clear. So again, with the heat burst, if you happen to be in the air, it's gonna snipe you out of the air, and depending on the move you did, your opponent is going to have a follow-up combo, but the combo is going to be scaled heavily, and the majority of that damage is going to be recoverable. Now, that still sucks because you're still losing in that situation, but it's a little bit better in my opinion. Now, with this heat burst, let me just show this. With the heat burst, if I do standing 1, 1, 2, I can block. So it's almost like the heat burst acts in the same way as an armor attack, because I can snuff them out here, right? So if I do down forward 1, if I do we go neutral, right? Neutral, you can snuff them out. Neutral again, low attack, now you snuff them out. So basically, armor attacks and heat bursts, they have the same weaknesses from what I can see. I understand that there are people that will still see nothing wrong with this, and I don't know what planet you guys are on. Maybe you guys just toxic positivity, I don't know. But at the same time, I am not one to criticize people for liking a game that they like. I mean, hell, to be perfectly honest, hell, I love Assassin's Creed Shadows, and everybody should be aware of all the controversy surrounding that game. I also enjoy Dragon Age the Veilguard, you know, and of course with the mental illness fuckery that's in that game from one particular character, and those who know will know, but I also enjoy the graphics, the combat, and so on. So what I'm saying is to say this: I don't allow one aspect of a game to doom the whole game. So while I am not a fan of this whole rage art mechanic, I think it's absolutely abysmal, it's trash. There are other aspects of Tekken 8 that I do appreciate. And I hope that's becoming clear to, especially to those that are probably seeing my content for the very first time. And for those of you that have been around my content for a long time, I just wanted to break this down a little bit further. Now, I am well aware as to the reasons why Namco wanted to go this direction. It is definitely to appeal to a more casual market, to get more eyeballs and more potential sales, both for the base game and future DLC. This is the reason why they have gone this direction. I have also had a few people in my comment section that basically told me, and I'm just paraphrasing, that they feel that this is like, they were basically saying, how else was Tekken 8 going to onboard newer players? And it made me shake my head, because I'm like, look, you already have things like rage arts, right? But in addition to this, you have, even what I'm in currently, you have a very robust practice mode. This practice mode has so many options for you as a newer player to really learn the game. You can set your punishes, you can program the opponent to do whatever you need them to do, you can practice your wake up options, you have access to your sample combos. There's a lot that you can do here in practice mode to level up your game as a beginner player, not to mention going on YouTube and looking up, you know, if you're looking at Raven, for instance, you could look at videos on Hayes or Pena, or maybe the other guy, what's his name, Fancy Cinegang, kind of a weird name, but a solid content creator. You could look at, what's his name, Shinobi Khan. You could look at players like him, or any other character. I'm just throwing off some established Raven players and content creators off the top of my head. But you can apply that to any, you know, if you're playing Brian, for instance, just go look up low high or knee. I absolutely hate this move. I think it does nothing but screw over a player that bust his or her ass and played the game as intended by the Tekken 8 developers, which was aggression, and then you introduce a move that basically throws aggression out the window at your own risk. Because like I've shown many times, if you're even in neutral and you try to press anything at the time they're doing this move, which can happen, you're gonna watch this bullshit cutscene and lose a ton of life. You know, life that either it's gonna screw you out of the round, or it's going to put you where you were once at advantage on health. You had the life lead. Now you are now at death's door. And then if you are now looking at the situation and you're like, okay, now I'm not gonna press because I don't want this to happen to me. What ends up happening is, what if your opponent doesn't pull the trigger? So now you basically gave up all of your momentum. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but the truth is the truth. You are going to take a chance at every single time you press a button when somebody is in rage, because you just don't know if they're going to just activate it. And because there is no direct challenging this move, you're gonna watch a cutscene. I cannot imagine anybody in my, I can't, unless you're, this is to the people who are my subscribers, or anybody new, if you manage to get through all of this video, the entirety of this video, and you still leave me a comment, while I do appreciate the comments in general, but if your comment is still to defend this bullshit, I will probably acknowledge your comment. I will thank you, but I'm not gonna go and debate. I'm not gonna do it. This video should be the end-all be-all of rage art is bullshit. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this video, but if you want to debate on maybe who's the best character, who's the worst character, fine. We can do that all day. But if you're gonna come into my comment section and you're still gonna be doing your Avengers assemble and defend this bullshit rage art shit, I don't know what I can tell you, because I've literally broken this down in every possible way that I can conceivably think of. There is no direct challenging this move from head to head. And I even gave examples on what you can do, blah blah blah, with the sidestep, but the fact that you have to completely alter your game plan to an opponent that you basically mauled from one end of the screen to the next, and now you, as the winning player, you have to change. That's ridiculous. And you know, it's just ridiculous that in this game, in Casino 8, Tekken 8, or Heat and Rage 8, that there is such a move. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I've said many times before, I am an OG of this game. I've been playing this franchise for 30 years. I'm a former competitive pro. You know, I may not have won many tournaments or whatever case is. I use Red Re1ated. He was always basically a mid-level to low-level character, unless we're talking about Tekken Tag 1, maybe Tekken 6 arcade version, but that's neither here nor there. I've put in my time, and I've seen pretty much everything this franchise has to offer over the course of 30 years. And never have I played a Tekken game where I have cursed the mechanics of the game itself. Never. Even with Tekken 7, I never really had an issue with the mechanics of the game. Tekken 6, Tekken 5, it's always mostly been, maybe if you're playing online, dealing with somebody's shitty net code, net connection, or the net code itself, or just the character being pretty much overtuned. Because those types of issues will always exist in fighting games. There's always going to be character balance issues in a fighting game. Hopefully, as a developer, you can at least eliminate some of the more egregious issues. However, when you have a situation like this with rage arts, this move to me is clearly designed just to give a losing player a win button. That's basically it. You know, all of the time they have done, or the patches where they focused on the punishment of this move. The move's punishment was not the issue. It's the startup and the fact that there is no direct challenging this move the way you can with an armor attack and even a heat burst, to where you can kind of bait it out with a jab, and then you can absorb. You know, you don't have to worry about if you stuck a limb out, you're done. You know, and again, you know, that's the issue I have. And the reason why this video is going on as long as it is, and I'm repeating myself, is because of how strongly I feel about this. So it's just, I just hope that I don't see these asinine comments that are still defending this bullshit ass move. You know, it's a bullshit move. Like it is. And you know, if I could Thanos snap this move out of Tekken 8, believe me, I would. And I'm pretty sure the vast majority of the community would actually praise in celebration. I'm not a fan of Heat either, but if you're narrowing me down and you're saying I can only get rid of one thing, right? Or I can only, either I can have the current roster balanced, removing heat or removing rage arts. I would remove rage arts. If I'm giving the option of only one thing, because I can deal with bullshit characters. Like I've said many times in prior videos, I've dealt with Tekken 4 Nina and Jin and other bullshit characters that if you were to take away heat from the Tekken 8 characters, those older Tekken characters, in my opinion, were worse to deal with, especially if we're talking about a Tekken 4 Jin Kazama. Like, some of you probably have never even dealt with that level of bullshit, or Tekken 5.0 Steve with his infinite. Maybe you guys haven't dealt with that. I have. And so the thing with heat is that it makes already elite level characters in Tekken 8, it makes them even more insufferable, you know. So that's the problem, you know, giving them additional properties like moves that you can't block, guard breaks and things of that nature, frame changes to what moves that would be negative, now they're plus. That's the issues with heat. As far as I'm concerned, I would love to see heat and rage completely taken out of this game, and for the Namco devs to actually put forth some real character balancing. You know, and that basically, I guess you can say I'm touching on what I would like to see for season 3. I would just say this in conclusion. I appreciate those of you that are still staying around on this video. I am very pessimistic when it comes to this game's future. I don't like to speak in absolutes. I don't like to say, oh, the game is absolute trash. I'll probably say that if I'm streaming for, you know, just to entertain and talk shit. But yeah, Tekken 8 does have some good elements to it. But the things I just been talking about, you know, throughout this video are the aspects that I absolutely hate, and I do feel it brings down the quality of this game. And it also gives players a false sense of progression, and having players think that they're better than what they really are. When they know, okay, well, if I'm getting my ass beat, I can always rely on a rage art to bail me out. You know, it's like an all or nothing thing. And I just don't like the fact that moves like this are basically doing the comeback for you. It's entirely possible to come back in this game, or any fighting game. I mean, hell, I can just go back to the olden days of the infamous Daigo parry with Justin Wong. You know, everybody remembers that. You know, that took actual skill. That was a comeback. That wasn't something that, you know, Daigo just pushed a button and it just happened. And that's the problem that I see with a lot of these modern fighting games, that they're dumbing things down so much. And I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it to appeal to that broader market because development costs are rising and yada, yada, yada. I've covered this. However, there is a fine line between making things more accessible or dumbing it down for newer players, but also maintaining that legacy skill where you're respecting the players like myself and even those that have come before me. You're respecting the time we put in to get that level of skill. Like, so having moves like rage arts that basically, you know, or even rage drives, which I will say humorously, I don't know why I didn't realize this, but realizing now that for Tekken 8, these moves are called heat smashes. I didn't even realize that. So I've basically been referring to moves like this. I would always call moves like this rage drives when they're actually called heat smashes. So that's so silly me. I guess I've been thinking in Tekken 7 time, this Tekken 7 terms this whole time. But I think I can I can veer off the video here and shut this off. Anyway, salute to each and every one of you that have watched the prior videos, and hopefully this video will gain some attention. Again, if you're gonna come into the comment section and trying to defend a rage art, like I said, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna read the comment, I'm gonna be shaking my head the whole time. So if anything else, I'm with you. But yeah, so shout out to all my subscribers and members. Hopefully this video, if you're new, made you a new subscriber and possibly a new member. I think that's about it. And in case some of you guys weren't aware, I did finally get myself a stream deck. So that's how I've been able to kind of like maneuver around the scenes a little bit more efficiently. I am learning the ins and outs. I haven't streamed with it yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I need to also get some sound effects for my Twitch and the YouTube streams as well. So if you guys know any websites for free sound effects, definitely let me know in the comments section with an actual link, and I'll appreciate you. Anyway, with that being said, let me go and edit this and get this out here onto YouTube. Anyway, take care, peace, and salute.